Yesterday, we read the story of Deborah and her battle, the victory over the Canaanites. And today, after that victory, which was done by a woman, the glory went to Yael rather than to Barak. We continue today with the song of Deborah, Shirat Deborah. Vatashar Deborah uVarak ben Avinoam Bayomahu Lemor. And Deborah and Barak, the son of Avinoam, sang as follows. So here, at least, Barak is mentioned. He's not the he was not given the full glory because he did not kill Sisera, but he's singing together with Deborah. Again, Deborah leading. Bifroa piraot b'Yisrael behitnadev am barchu Adonai. When locks go untrimmed in Israel, when people dedicate themselves, bless the Lord. Barech Hashem. Shemu melachim ha'azinu rosnim. Hear kings, give ears. Anochi ladonai, anochi ashira azamer ladonai Elohei Yisrael. I will sing to the Lord with hymns to God, to the God of Israel. Adonai, b'tzeitcha me seir, b'tzadcha mistei adom, eretz ra'asha gam shamayim natafu, gam avim natfu mayim. God, when you came forth from Seir, when you advanced from the country of Edom, the whole earth trembled, the heavens dripped, the clouds dripped water. Harim nazlu mipnei Adonai, the mountains quaked. Zeh Sinai mipnei Adonai Elohei Yisrael. This is what happened when God was at Sinai. So here, Deborah and Barak are going back all the way to the times of Mount Sinai. God, and this is the same wording that we have used by Moshe in Ha'azinu, the words where he talks about Hashem coming out Meseir Lamo, are the words that Moshe uses, a similar using of language. And now she continues, verse 6. Bimei Shamgar ben Anat, in the days of Shamgar ben Anat. We didn't learn too much about Shamgar. Shamgar is the third Shofet who is mentioned, but we don't hear too much. It just says that he defeated the Philistines, I believe it was, with the bone of an ox, but we really don't know too much about him. Bimei Yael chadlu orchot, in the days of Yael, caravans ceased. V'holchei netivot yalchu orchot akul kalot, and wayfarers went by roundabout paths. Right, the roads are closed because there's incredible danger. And that's what she is referring to here in the days of Yael, which presumably are her own days. Chadlu pirazon b'Yisrael chadelu. Deliverance ceased. It ceased in Israel. Ad shekamti Devorah, shekamti aim b'Yisrael. Until arose Devorah, arose a mother of Israel. And of course, we know, thank God, not so much today, but in the ancient period, to have a woman leader was an exception, and part of it is demonstrating a lack of male leadership. We saw that in the last chapter, just with Barak himself, when Deborah told Barak to lead the army, and he said, "I won't do it unless you come with me." So she is the one who's leading Bnei Yisrael. Mentioned here that she's leading him. She's leading like a mother, but it's an exception to the general rule. And of course, it's doubled over in this chapter, or in the last chapter, with Yael as well. Continuing in verse 8, Yivchar Elohim chadashim azlachem she'arim. When they chose new gods, there was a fighter in their gates. Magain im yera'eh v'romach ba'arba'im elef b'Yisrael. No shield or spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. Right? Bnei Israel are in terrible straits with their enemies. Libi lichokeke Yisrael habitnadvim ba'am barchu Adonai. My heart is with Israel's leaders, with the dedicated of the people. They're the ones. They bring blessing to God. Bless the Lord. Rochvei atonot tzechorot yoshvei al midin v'holchei al derech sichu. The riders of donkeys who sit on saddles, the wayfarers declare it. Mikol mechatzitzim bein mashabim sham yitanu tzidkot Adonai tzidkot pirzono b'Yisrael az yardu l'sha'arim am Adonai. Louder than the sound of archers, They're among the watering places. They chant the gracious acts of God, his deliverance. Then did the people of Israel march down to the gates, right? So somebody's coming out and saying, trust with God, and reminding everybody of the fact that God will deliver Bnei Yisrael. That's what's being stated here by Deborah and Barak, and then therefore Bnei Yisrael could come and fight back against their enemies. Uri Devorah, Uri Dabri Shir. Awake Devorah, awake and strike up the chant, strike up the song. Kum Barak Ushvei Shavyecha ben Avinoah. Arise, Barak, and take the captives, O son of Avinoah. Right? We weren't told that there were captives taken by the Canaanites, but presumably this is referring to that the Canaanites, Sisera, his king, they took captives from Israel, and so Barak, that's what you have to do. This is, of course, something he already did, but it's the poetry afterwards. Az yirad sarid la'adirim am, Adonai yirad li bagiborim. There was the remnant made victory over the mighty. Right? There's only a remnant, it's a piece of Israel. God's people won victory over the warriors. Minei Ephraim shorsham ba'amalek, acharecha v'nyamin ba'amamecha, mini machir yardu mechokikim, umizvulun moshchim b'shevet sofer. From Ephraim came they whose roots are in Amalek. Right? Amalek was part of the Canaanites gathered together with with other people. And so Ephraim, who in the past had dealings with Amalek, and after you were Binyamin, from Machir is from the tribe of Menashe, came down leaders, and from Zvulun, there were those who had a staff to fight battles. V'sarei b'Yisachar im Devorah, b'Yisachar came Barak be'emech shulach beraglav, b'filagot Reuven gedolim chokukei leiv. Yisachar's chiefs were with Devorah, and so Barak was with Yisachar. Rushing after him into the valley they came. Among them were also the clans, the tribe of Reuven, who made great decisions. Lama yashabta bein hamishpatayim lishmoa shirkot adarim. Why then did you stay among the sheepfolds and listen as they pipe for flocks? Lefalgot Reuven gedolim chikrei leiv. Among the clans of Reuven were great searchings of the heart. Gilad be'ever hayardain shachein v'dan lama yagur oniot asher yashav lechof yamim v'al mifsarav yishkon. Gilad tarried beyond the Jordan. Dan, why was he still with his ships? Asher remained at the coast and tarried at his landings. Zvulun am cheref nafsho. Zvulun is a people that mocked death. Lamut v'Naftali al miromei sodeh, and Naphtali on the open heights. Ba'u milachim nilchamu az nilchamu malchei Canaan. Then the kings came and they fought. The kings of Canaan fought. But Ta'anach al mei Megiddo, at Ta'anach by the waters of Megiddo. Betza kesef lo lakachu. They got no spoil or silver. Mina shamayim nilchamu hakochavim mimi silotam nilchamu im Sisra. The stars fought from the heavens, their courses, the way they were orbiting, the way they were seen. They fought against Sisera. This is the belief, right? The stars, astrology, there's some power from the stars, and so the stars are fighting on the side of Bnei Yisrael. Nachal Kishon Gorfam, the Nachal Kedumim, Nachal Kishon Tidrichi Nafshi Oz. Kishon swept them away, the raging torrent of Kishon. Az halmu ikvei sus midaharot daharot abirav. Then the horse hoofs pounded as they galloped, as the steeds galloped. Oru meroz amar malach Adonai, aru arur yoshveha. Ki lo vau lezrat Adonai big vori. Curse Meroz, said the angels of God, bitterly curse the inhabitants of this place of Meroz, because they came not to aid God, they didn't aid the warriors of Israel. Tivarach minashim Yael eshet chever hakeni, minashim be'ohel tivorach. The most blessed of the women shall be Yael, the wife of Hever, right? This is the woman who slayed Sisera. Hever HaKeni, the Keni, of course, again, from the descendants related to Moshe's father-in-law, to Yitro. Mayim Sha'al, Chalav Natna. Sisera asked for water, and she gave him milk. Besefel Adirim, Hikriva Chemav. In a princely bowl, she brought him butter, she brought him curds. Yada liate tishlachna. With his left hand, he reached for the tent pin. I should say, she reached for the tent pin. Vimina lahalmot amelim. Her right for the hammer. The halma Sisra machaka rosho. She struck Sisra, she crushed his head. Umachatsa bechalfa rakato. And she smashed and pierced his temple. Bein ragleha kara nafal shagav. At her feet he sank, he was outstretched, lying there. Bein ragleha kara nafal. At her feet he sank, he was laying still. Ba'asher kara sham nafal shadud. Where he sank, there he lay destroyed. And clearly in that verse there are sexual allusions in between her legs, in between her feet, and rather than being manly and virile, as would be assumed of a general of an army, he's lying there on the ground. We're up to verse 28. Ba'ad hachalon nishkefa v'tiyabev aim Sisra be'ad ha'eshnaf. Through the window peered Sisera's mother. She's looking from behind the lattice, and she says, Madua boshesh rikvo lavo. Madua echaru pa'amei merkavto. Why is this chariot late? Why don't I hear the clatter of the wheels? Chachamot saroteha ta'anana afi tashiv amarehala. The wise of her ladies gave answer, and she too replies to herself. Halo yimsu'u yichlaku shalal racham tayim l'rosh gever shlal tzvaim l'sisra shlal tzvaim rikma. It must be, why are they taking so long? They're dividing spoil. A girl for this one, two for that man. Dyed clothing for Sisera, embroidered cloths, other cloths for this one. Every neck, everybody's walking home with spoils all over them. That is what the mother of Sisera believes as to the reason why her son is late in arriving home. Cain Yovdu, Kol Oivecha Adonai, Va'ohavav Kitseit Hashemesh B'gvurato. So may all of your enemies perish, God, but may his friends be as the sun rising in its strength, in its might. Vatishko ta'aretz arba'im shana. And for 40 years, there was peace in the land. There was no war. This is the song of Deborah. Let me finish with just one small comment here about it, which is probably the most well-known verse and most significant verse for Jews, is verse 28, where it talks about Sisera's mother peering out from behind the window, and it says the word vatiyavev, which is a type of weeping and a type of crying. And the rabbis discuss in the Talmud what are the different sounds of the shofar. Specifically, we know a tekiah is a long blast, but what is a teruah? Is it the 3 blast or is it the 7 blast? One of the suggestions comes from this idea. And the Midrash talks about how here the mother of Sisera blasted, and there are different versions of the Midrash, we'll just go with one of them. She cried 100 cries when she was waiting for her son. That's how much she was crying. And the based upon that is where we get the custom of having 100 blasts of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. According to the Torah, the way the rabbis understand the biblical text, there should only be 9, because we don't know exactly what a teruah is. It becomes 30. Because we don't know, because of persecution, we were doing tekiot at one point, and we made them earlier. So then it became sort of, when we were able to then do it again, it became 60. And then eventually it became a custom of 100, irrespective, Jews everywhere, all over the world, Ashkenazim, Sfaradim. And it's based upon this midrash that says that the mother of Sisera cried 100 times. And there are different versions, like I said. There's one version that said she cried 101 times. So we only blast 100 to Kolot because we don't care about her son. So we're going to eliminate one of them. There's another way of understanding the Midrash that even the enemy of Israel, when she's there waiting for her son and she's crying out, that we have to understand those cries. We have to understand that pain and understand that suffering. And of course, that's part of what the whole idea of the shofar is about, is hearing the shofar and acting as a result of the blasts of the shofar. So this seems like not the place where we would imagine customs regarding Tkiyat shofar, or the blasting of the shofar, but it is, like I said, related to this verse 28, and that is somehow, we don't know exactly how, seemingly the source for why we have 100 kolot on Rosh Hashanah.